guys, this is Rochelle with More Life Essential TV. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to talk about when to let go. Now, I know for some of us that's hard to do. We've been in situations where we allowed the red flags to continue on, and we just overlooked them and act like they didn't exist. And maybe because the situation may have benefited you in some kind of way, or you was just desperate. And trust me, I've been there where I was desperate. Sometimes we just have to be honest with ourselves. We do things and knowing it's not going to benefit us in the end, but we still continue even though we see it already. We already see the outcome. So yeah, I'm going to go into a little bit of backstory of my last relationship. I remember the last video I told you guys that some of the things that I did notice in the relationship, I kind of overlooked and I should have let go, but I continued. And one of those things I remember bringing up was our faith. And that is a major thing, a major thing, because what if we bring kids into the situation? And I kind of pretty much showed him that, yeah, I would be okay with it. I would let our kids decide their beliefs, what they choose to believe in. When in actuality, I really don't agree with that, because now that I've actually sat with God a little bit more in this season that I'm in, I realize that does not make sense, because it's really confusing when one parent has one belief system and the other has another, and you're trying to raise your kids up in that, and that's your foundation. And so it really doesn't make sense to try to make that work. Now, some people will say, hey, it could work, but that only works if the other person decides they want to convert into that other person's religion. It can't work if you have two different belief systems in the household. And he didn't even celebrate Christmas and all that. And I'm not big on Christmas like that, but I do like to attend festivities. I like to be able to be a part of the festivities. And he's one of those people like, oh, we don't have to wait till Christmas to buy gifts. We can buy gifts all year long, when he didn't buy gifts for me at all. So I don't even know. Yeah. But that's another story for a whole nother day. So yeah, the faith situation, I don't believe that you should have to sit and debate with your partner about your beliefs. Literally, that's what we did in most of the conversations. And it was exhausting for me mentally. And so that was part of the breakdown of our relationship, because I felt like I had to pretty much explain myself every time we got in a conversation. It's like he had a beg to differ spirit. He just had the energy of just wanting to have a disagreement with me. And really, that was another reason why I started to have surface conversations. And I didn't want to be vulnerable with him anymore. And really, in our breakup, when we had a conversation, he's told me that our conversations didn't meet his needs, when really he don't even know that he was the breakdown of that. Because every time we had a conversation, I couldn't get deep with him, because of when I did, I felt like he was pretty much just demeaning me and trying to make me feel inadequate. And I did not like that. So those were major red flags. Don't overlook those things. I would say also other things that are part of your foundation: finances. Now, I'm not saying you guys have to make the same amount of money, because you're two different people, you're individuals. So you're going to have different occupations. But if this person is not a good steward with their money, but you are, and you don't see them trying to make a change, eventually, if you guys decide to get married and that doesn't get fixed, the financial stability is not going to be there. So that's another thing. And just morals, your values, everything, all of those things are your foundation. And if that person doesn't meet those things, it's a no-no. That's when you should let go. And a person could be a good person. They could be a great person, but that doesn't mean they're great for you. They're going to be great for someone else, and you're going to be great for someone else. And I'm also going to say this. In situations, you are not going to find the perfect person. No one's perfect, so that's unrealistic. But the thing is, this person has to be willing to make it work. So if you communicate certain red flags or situations to them that you just don't like, and they just decide they don't want to change those things, and you've communicated this with them over and over again, and usually you shouldn't have to do too much communicating that to them. They should understand it and respect your standards and respect where you're coming from. And if they can't change it, they're just not ready for that situation. And that's just what it is. And like I said, that doesn't make them a bad person. They're just not ready. And that's when you have to be like, okay, this is not for me. I don't see this going anywhere. And we just have to let it go. Another thing, like obvious red flags, a controlling person. We know where those things can lead when someone is controlling. It could go from physical situations and verbal situations that could leave you mentally, emotionally, and physically drained. And you don't want to be in those. Now, I've never been in a physical situation, if y'all understand what I'm talking about, where, something like that has happened to me. But I will say, in that situation, just be mindful of your own life, because that is not love. If a person is putting you in harm's way, that's not love. And if someone is verbally assaulting you, or anything that is detriment to your health, it's not love. If you feel like you have to continuously fight to get them to love you, like, that's not love. So I will say that. Now, from my own experiences, I've never had anyone get way too aggressive with me. But I have witnessed situations growing up. And it doesn't feel good to see that. So imagine you being that person in the situation. It just causes more trauma. So I would just advise, in that situation, make the best decision for yourself, so that you don't keep yourself in harm's way. And another thing, just be mindful that God has the person that is meant for you. You do not have to settle for anything. A person is going to do only what you allow them to do. And that's just point blank, period. A person is only going to do what you allow them to do. You can either communicate those things to that person, create those boundaries of what you will allow and won't allow, or you can allow someone to run over you. And a person will do it. And not saying that the person is a bad person, but that's just human nature. People will test you. And so you just got to know yourself when you approach situations. That's the best way to know that you know what you want when you walk into a situation, is when you know yourself. Because when you know yourself, you're able to make the best decisions for yourself. And especially when you have that self-love, you create those boundaries for other people not to cross. So when you create those boundaries, you know when to let go, because you're not going to allow a person to walk into your life and just run amok and do whatever they want to do. Now, I will say this, in my last relationship, I could tell he was getting very comfortable in his place. He wasn't even the type of guy that I would usually go for. And he even told me that I'm not usually the type of girl that really approaches him And in other previous relationships, even his mother, she was like, oh, this don't look like your normal type. The other girls, they were, they looked a certain way. I ain't gonna, everybody's beautiful in God's eyes, so I ain't gonna talk about nobody. But yeah, so for him to be able to think that he could just come in my life and just do whatever he wanted to do, he had gotten comfortable because he's like, oh, I got her to be able to, do this and do that. Oh, I'm good. I'm chilling. And he got lazy. And I allowed it, really, because oh, and another thing was him having female friends that I didn't know about. So it was one thing to have female friends, but it's another, and I know who they are, and I've met them and we've become acquainted. But there's another thing to make me feel like uncomfortable about it, and it's like almost like you're being sneaky. And so I addressed those situations multiple times, like, hey, I don't like the fact that you're communicating with such and such person, and I don't know who this person is. I've never met them, and it's kind of weird that you haven't at least told me about this person. And really, I felt like when we did break up, he was pretty much in the conversation comparing me to conversations that he had with other people. So that's why I did not like the fact that he had female friends, because he was building emotional connections with other women instead of having certain conversations that he was supposed to be having with me, which, to be honest, we weren't going to have those deep conversations anymore because of him demeaning me in most of our conversations. So I could not get to that place to be vulnerable with him anymore. I'm not dating anyone and I'm left in the dark about your relationship with another woman. I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. And it ain't got nothing to do with me being insecure, because I've had relationships with guys before who've had female friends, but I feel like should be certain boundaries when it comes to those situations. She shouldn't be able to come into the situation and be able to speak on me or make you make certain decisions that have nothing to do with her. You should be able to make your own decisions. And me, I don't even talk to my own female friends about things that go on in my relationship unless it's really detrimental to me, like whether I'm in harm's way, and which I've never had to do before. So I wouldn't want to be in a situation with anyone where every time something happens, they run into their female friend, not even a male friend, a female friend, and having conversations about our situation. Like, no, I didn't like that. So that was another red flag, guys. And so I say this to say, guys, just be mindful. Like I said, protect your peace. Protect your peace. Because you already have things going on in your life that you have to deal with on your own. And then to have someone else come in and create more issues for you, I wouldn't wish that on anyone. So do the work on yourself first, because if you don't do the work on yourself, you're going to go into situations and pretty much just allow people to do whatever they want to do, because you don't have those boundaries set and you don't have the self-love. Because when you love yourself, you don't let nobody do anything to you. You don't let nobody come in your life and make you feel like you going crazy and you losing your mind. Now, I will say it took me some time to get to that place, like to now know and have the knowledge. So that's why I'm helping you guys now get that knowledge that you need, so that in the future you don't allow someone to come into your life and do whatever they want to do. Read some books. Shoot, I even watch YouTube videos from time to time to help me get the knowledge I need to build me up. Now that I've gotten my spiritual growth, I literally, pray to God and ask him to bring certain things into my life, create certain things within me, so that I know when a person is not for me. So I would just advise everyone to just be mindful of those things. Getting to know yourself is the most important part of it. Being able to create those standards. Get a journal. Write down the things that you want to see in your partner. And so you can manifest those things. Pray about it. Do all those things so that when somebody comes into your space, you can pretty much feel the energy. And you'll be able to tell that that's not for you. Communicate with the person. Have real detailed conversation. Now, I ain't saying go on dates and be like, so, what does your bank account say? Okay. All right. And do you have a life insurance policy? All right. Okay. No. I ain't saying all that. Don't be interrogating people, but kind of interrogate them, but not really interrogate them. Just make sure you ask the questions that are needed to be asked. Like I said about faith, that is important. And really just have general conversation. Once you get to talking with somebody, a person will tell you all you need to know. You ain't really even got to ask questions. My ex told me that he didn't feel like my conversations were intentional because I didn't ask specific questions. Whatever. There's more ways to skin a cat, so more than one way to skin a cat, so I won't pay attention to that. But you can ask a person one question, and if you let them keep talking, they'll tell you all that you need to know. For real. I'm telling you. So guys, just know when to let go of situations. Don't allow people to come into your life and just do whatever, and people will show themselves sooner than you think. They will show themselves sooner than you think. And once you see those signs and you know, and it's something in your gut telling you, girl, this ain't it. And this is for my men too. I mean, we all have to have the ability to know what is best for ourselves. So I'm going to go over a scripture for you guys. Proverbs 4:23, and I have my trusty Destiny. And we're going to read it verbatim because I didn't have it for you guys last time, but I got it for you today. Let's see here. So, keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. So that pretty much just means guard your heart. Guard your heart. God is telling you to guard your heart. So guess what? Guard your heart. Protect your peace. And love yourself. Well, that's it, you guys. Thank you for listening to me. And again, I am a life coach, so if you need help, you need guidance, please reach out to me. I am here. You can reach me on Instagram at Rochelle Demetrice, RochelleDametrice, life coach. So I'm not on my mentor.life right now, but you can still book me. I am on Instagram, like I said, Facebook. You can reach out to me on here, hit my DMs up. I'll reach back out if you need me and we can set something up. So just, guys, know when to let go. And again, I hope I was able to provide you guys with some gems in this video. Thank you for listening. Until next time.